It's the Friday news dump. Yeah, speaking of dumps, we're going to talk about A.J. Brown here in just a minute because he was not feeling good the last couple of days. Apparently, he lost like 8 pounds, and then he's trying to put it back on. They call it food poisoning. I don't think people really know what food poisoning is, though. Food poisoning is just days worth of shit. Like he ate it, and it's gross, but hopefully he's going to play. Anyways, let me just get into the show now. Tambo's here. Bobby Gomez. Gomez. Is that what we're calling you?
Bobby Gomez.
Hold on. Whatever the fuck you want to call me, you can call me. Just get going with the show.
We're starting off well. Listen, we only got 30 minutes because we got the NBA stuff coming up. So let's get right to this. RPS NBA 15% off the lifetime of your subscription. I think it's still good. I'd use it if I were you because you get all the NBA stuff. You get all of the NFL stuff, the baseball players, everything. Everything's amazing. All right, guys, let's get into it. Tambo, I want to talk to you about A.J. Brown. He says he's going to be fine in week 7 to play against the Chiefs. He was legit tweeting from the toilet because he felt so sick. I don't know what he ate. It's probably Taco Bell or something, but he says he's going to play, and he's got a smash spot against the Chiefs. What do you think of A.J. Brown now he's feeling a little better?
Yeah, I still like him, actually. I think he's a good play this week, assuming he plays, which we would expect him to. We know that Henry's going to be very popular this week. I think there's a lot of situational stuff where Henry becomes a run back and you can go to A.J. Brown instead. There's also some stuff Bobby Gomez and I were talking about pre-show where you could run it with, maybe you go Tannehill with Henry with A.J. Brown as a way where most would say, well, how do I get unique off Henry? Let me go with Tannehill and some stacks. That's definitely one way to go about it. But I think another way would be to go where you stack them all together and get unique that way, and then run somebody back from the Kansas City side, of course, because if that game goes off and guys are hitting their ceilings, it's going to be because likely Mahomes on the other side. But Mahomes is expensive this week, as are the guys that go with him.
I mean, geez, Derrick Henry's $11K on FanDuel. Holy shamoly. 20% of your salary is going to Derrick Henry on Yahoo at $40. Bobby Gomes, give me a little strategery session here before we get to the rest of the actual news with the Titans now that Brown's probably playing, and we don't know about Julio. He says he's feeling okay, but that's still up in the air. Does it matter with him?
With Julio, I waiting on Julio. If you're going to play Tennessee stacks, I guess that's fine. I haven't played much Julio. He's kind of dusty at this point. The A.J. Brown news is great. I think Tambo kind of hit on like how I would stack that up, basically playing Henry with Tannehill and then A.J. Brown to kind of differentiate yourself in this 57.5 game total that everyone's going to be trying to stack each and every way. So yeah, I don't know. I don't mind Henry, Tannehill, AJ Brown stacks. I don't mind playing AJ Brown after coming off the food poisoning. Think he'll be fine. Think he'll be in line for a good game. So I'll definitely have some exposure to this Tennessee Titans offense in this game overall.
I mean, let's face it, this Chiefs defense is as bad as it gets. I know they made a couple of changes and they looked a little better last week, but for the most part, they are hot garbage in my estimation. Okay, let's move on to the other news. I think the Ravens are a big one here. Bobby Gomes, Latavius Murray, Sammy Watkins are out. I think this obviously a major boost to Bateman, who looked good last week. And then I want to get your thoughts on that running back situation, though, because Lev Bell and Devontae Freeman have been taken out of like cryo freezing. They put their heads back on, they're running now. So what's up with this running game? Do we mess with it? And how much do you love Bateman?
Yeah, never mess with the Baltimore running backs too much in DFS. Freeman would be the one I'd be privy to if I was. I think he's going to be the guy that they kind of lean on a little bit ahead of Bell. And then Bateman, right? Like he's stepping into that Sammy Watkins role, much better player than Sammy Watkins. I think it opens up a lot of stuff for Lamar Jackson in this passing offense in terms of things they can do relative to what they would be able to do if Sammy Watkins was in and starting ahead of Bateman. I think Bateman's going to be fine. He's going to do well at that spot. That price tag's too cheap for Bateman in this offense. So I think a lot of people will be considering him in cash games. And I think he's playing tournaments as well.
You want to mess with either one of these jabronis in the backfield, Tambo?
No, not interested. Like I always say, like you got Lamar there. It's almost like when the Bills have a situation. You want to play Moss and Singletary, or do you just stick with Josh Allen? You can go that way if you go with Lamar. As far as the wide receivers go, I think it's definitely an interesting case. I won the bet against Draft Cheat last week on the Bateman under. I didn't think he was going to have a big game at all. I know he was a little bit involved, but nowhere near the 10 Draftkings points he was hoping for. I know that this week could definitely be better, but I would actually tend to lean towards the Mark Andrews side. and just go back to the trusty Lamar with Mark Andrews on his own, whatever it might be, where you can just play him and pick up the points that way.
I like where you're going with that. The next game, the Bucs are going to be shorthanded, but I think Mike Evans and Godwin are going to be very popular now. Gronk is out again with those ribs. Antonio Brown is out with the ankle, Tambo. Boy, it's going to open up a lot. I just wonder, because of the matchup, if Fournette's the guy that just goes bananas this week.
I think that's what people are hoping on, at least from early ownership projections. It looks like he's still a little bit in the mix. I know there's other guys ahead of him, and you've got to make decisions when you've got Henry, Henderson, Williams, different guys like that people are getting after. But I still think people will lean on him some. He's looked good. He's got there in the spots. I'll continue to fade. I know Big T is always on the fade train with Lenny, and I'm on the same one. I like going with that passing game. One thing I do like, though, that a lot of people don't go to is Tom Brady in the passing game. I was right on it a couple weeks ago. I go back to it again because here's the thing. He's hard to stack in the sense that he spreads it around. But when you get a situation where you've already got AB and Gronk out, or likely to be both be out in this situation where you have this opening up, yes, he still can pass it around, but at the same time, you still have an easier stacking path for Brady than you normally would get. And if most people are going to be on Fournette, you can even stack with Fournette if you wanted, but I prefer just to go without and just stack Brady up with his guys and hope to get on the right combo with at least two guys in that stack.
Just going to throw out one name here, and you guys are going to have to do the research on your own because I'm going to dig in a little bit more. But we had a guy that went for 3 for 63 for the Bucs. No one talks about him, Tyler Johnson. I cannot imagine that he's going to be highly owned. I cannot imagine that he costs very much either. I'll go look into that. But I'm just going to throw his name out there again. Evans, Godwin, the big beneficiaries. You've got Bray, you got Fournette. This kid, I mean, 3 for, I don't know, min price. If he gets you 9.5 points, is that all right? No, we need more than that, don't we?
I like the Tyler Johnson call. Holden doing his homework. You love to see it.
Every week I do my homework. It's the NFL. Come on.
No, yeah, I know. I'm with you. I love the call.
About MMA though.
And Tambo too, like the fade of Uncle Len. I'm all about the fade of Uncle Len. Specific guy with that fade and leverage, I think for me would be Chris Godwin. A lot of people thinking Lenny's going to get a lot of the passing down work, and a guy that would eat into that due to his ADOT, not being Mike Williams, would be a guy like Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's also in the price range of a lot of these chalk running backs, and Leonard. He's 500 less than Leonard Fournette. He's 200 less than Chuba Hubbard. He's in the price range of Sterling Shepard at 5'6", Brandon Cooks at 5'3", guys that are going to be really chalky. And right now, I don't think Godwin is going to be all that chalky relative to those guys. Jacoby Myers is another guy he's in the price range of. So like I had Adam Thielen last week on the Off the Chalk show, I think Chris Godwin's the guy I'm looking for this week.
Who is it? Who is it again? Godwin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to, by the way, real quick, I had to double check the app just to make sure my shit wasn't broken for $5,900 Godwin. Like, this is what I'm talking about with this Brady stack. You're never getting an easier way to stack. It doesn't mean it's going to be right. I'm saying that if you're going to stack them, you want to have cheap options. Usually when you're going with different guys like Mahomes or, Rodgers with Adams, you get these expensive stacks. And then if they fail, it really hurts you. Here, these guys, hopefully they come through and hit their ceilings with those stacks. But I'm just saying at those prices, they have to be in consideration. And Tyler Johnson really does have a great first name. But at 3,000, if he's going to get popular, I'll still look like Bobby said and go to those other guys. I think Godwin, 5,900, Evans, 6,500. He can get there. I like the play. But at the same time, if it picks up steam, I just see it at 3K even as the week goes on. Stone minimum price point. Makes sense. He'll be in some of the stacks. I'm just saying I'll be heavier on what I've been all season. It's been working, been very close with these situations. But the balanced roster construction, you can get off Henry, get your Brady, Evans, and go with Godwin, and then stack it up with some other guys in the mid-tier range, and you get yourself a really nice roster with a solid floor and a great ceiling on top.
All right. I like to hear it. So he is 3K, right?
Yeah, he's 3K, Tyler Johnson. He's popping. I like the call. I would prefer Godwin.
What's the price, though? I'll give you an example. This is what I look at. So you've got Godwin. It's 2,900 in the difference. So what is that? 72. Like, you're going, it's basically Darrell Henderson and Godwin or Evans versus Derrick Henry and Tyler Johnson. And what do you think most people are going to pick there? Pretty obviously, they're going to pick Derrick Henry and Tyler Johnson because Derrick Henry just makes more sense. But I'm saying I like the idea of having that mid-tier back like a Darrell Henderson and going with a mid-tier high upside 2-touchdown, 3-touchdown guy in Evans or Godwin. That's just the way I like building it out.
Okay, very good, guys. RPS NBA 15% off the lifetime of your subscription. We got the bet side too. Get bets if you're already a subscriber. Live shows up and down. Sunday, you could chill out with Keg. He does live betting shows all day, and it's kind of nice. I don't work Sundays after the Up to Lock show. I used to do a live betting show. Now I could just sit there with Keg and win a whole bunch of money. So check out runpurebets.com. It's totally sensational. Okay, next one. Tambo. Devontae Parker is questionable against the Falcons. I think this could be a sneaky spot for a lot of people. If Parker is in, what does that mean for the rest of the receiving crew for the Dolphins? And if he's out, do we go back to Waddle?
Yeah, Waddle's the guy that would interest me there. And again, not a lot. So this is, it's a spot you can play for me more of like a secondary stack that you might see where I'll play Waddle across from somebody and do it that way. But nothing on this offense really excites me. And I know a lot of rumors swirling and whatnot there, but I just think in general for me, probably an avoid spot beyond either a one-off Waddle or a Waddle secondary stack. That's likely, maybe Gesicki. I'm not sure about, if I'd go there, but we'll have to see. But in a onesie position, like the tight end that I always talk about, I could get there as well.
All right. What about you there, Bobby Gomes?
Yeah, it'd be 100% Waddle for me. Like it'd be not like 100% in terms of like locking him in. I just think he'd be the best play in that situation.
Okay. Not 100% Waddle.
No.
A lot of Waddle.
Waddle's the best receiver on that team for me.
Waddle.
Gesicki's going to pop. He's going to be chalky. I don't know. I just prefer Waddle.
He is. He's the first guy the guys I looked at this week, the first one that popped out was Mark Andrews because he's got better numbers than Kelsey at this point, believe it or not. And then Gesicki was the other one. So I think
like Gesicki's getting I shouldn't say it's going to be like 100%, but I like both.
Okay, way to not take a stand there, Bobby Gomes. Way to just sit there in the middle. We appreciate it, though. Always like me some Bobby Gomes. So, Bobby, why don't you start with the next one? Antonio Gibson. He says he's going to play. He's got that shin issue. That's going to be an issue the whole year. Do you play him if he's active? And if he's not, I'm going back to McKissick. I got him at 3.1% last week, and he went off.
He went off, and it's like the similar game script, right? And McKissick really thrives in that game script. I had a lot of McKissick last week. I feel like I'll have a lot of McKissick this week. They're definitely going to be trailing in Green Bay, so definitely prefer McKissick to Antonio Brown.
Okay, what about you? And through Antonio Brown?
Antonio Gibson. Sorry,
right.
Antonio Brown was the first bit of news, and
Yep. No doubt about it.
He was thinking of Diami Brown. He was thinking about him.
Diami Brown.
We're not playing
Diami
Brown.
A lot of Browns.
Yeah. I like Terry's personally, assuming he's good. He was questionable as well. I know it says today, it looks like he's back, cleared, going to be good to go. But talking about them being down, I just think this price, $6,900 for Terry McLaurin, for me, I would choose to go that route. I get the McKissick love, but man, what type of ceiling does JD McKissick provide? That's my issue. I get it. He's not 3K. They don't have those anymore. He's not even the 4K min. Like, what are we getting out of this guy? The 19 he got last week, he's got 16. I don't know. I'm looking for a little bit more personally. 19 would be great. I mean, if you're going to get that every week, I just don't believe you will. So I'm going to look to get different, especially if that's the case.
Tambo, bringing the heat. I like it, Tambo. Okay, we'll move on to the next game or the next injuries then. Giants, Galladay, Tony, Barkley out. Shepard is questionable. Tambo, Shepard was a nice play last week. Liked it. Do we play him this week? Any thoughts on him?
Did you like the Shepard?
No, go ahead. I was playing with my settings because I have some people here at the house. I'm still doing the renovations, just finishing things up. But no, again, similar to the conversation we had earlier on Miami, Holden. It's not really an offense. Again, this is what we talked about plenty. Shepard would be the guy I'd have interest in if I did, almost like how we talked about Waddle or Gesicki as sort of the one-offs. But again, it's a 10-game slate. It's shortened versus what we might be used to earlier in the season, but there's still plenty of options to be able to go elsewhere. So if it was like a cash game plug and play, I would understand. For tournaments, likely going elsewhere and just looking to get different spots.
That could be kind of a nasty game too. It's not a good game.
Yeah.
Two teams that the Panthers offense is kind of taking a step back. We obviously know that Chuba and DJ Moore are in there, but it's really been ugly since that. And then the Giants. I mean, the Giants are just disgusting. So, Bobby Gomes, you want anything there? Sterling Shepard will always be on my radar If he's sub 6K, he's 5.6 on DK.
In cash, I think Shepard's going to be very heavily owned.
Okay.
In terms of tournaments, I don't know. I still think you can play Shepard. He's seen 8 to 10 targets in each one of his games. Last week he had Ramsey. Ramsey was getting him in the slot a little bit. I don't know. Tony's not playing this week. I don't mind Shepard for tournaments either.
If you land on him, I think it's fine.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be a guy that I'd shy. I wouldn't land on him and then go, damn, got to recore everything because this makes no sense. I also think if you wanted to play a little secondary stack there, for me, it would be Chuba versus Shepard on the other side and just have them going back and forth. Carolina doing their thing on the ground, Shepard coming back with those 8 to 10 targets. That's at a second look there. That's sort of the way I would go about it.
So I'm looking forward to you guys shitting on this play. Tevin Coleman had a setback with his hamstring. It's not like he was getting a lot of work, but basically it's Michael Carter and Ty Johnson before the what was it today? So before the bye, he was starting to see more touches. He had 12, then he had 16, then he goes back to 13. But it's the Patriots, Tambo. Like anything with Coleman going back at 4.8, can you see Michael Carter any path to him paying off in a tournament?
I can see why you would play him because you're a truther and you've been on him and you're looking for it to pay off. Kind of like how JSU, we talked last night on the Thursday Night Football show, you had to go back to Javonte and it certainly helped. It wasn't, a break the slate type play, but it was for that slate. It was single game. But I do think you can go there. For me, though, the challenge I've got, Holden, is you look at the last couple of weeks with touchdowns, even like there's just no points put up and now potentially an even tougher spot. So I think what should be a tougher spot. I just think it's a tough play to get to and going with an offense like the Jets. It lines up. I know that it's the news dump. We have to talk about this stuff, but when we're punching in Jets and Dolphins and Giants, it's like, I know it's only, there's still 20 teams you can pick from on this slate. Those are probably the worst 3. So in rare scenarios, maybe in large field MME, if you plug them in and land on them, by all means, but not something I'm looking to get much of a taste of over here personally.
All right, Bobby Gomes, that's why I just brought it up. I'm just throwing his name out there. I do love me some Michael Carter. I think probably in the second half of the season, I'll like him even more. Any thoughts on him this week?
Yeah, so pretty much on the same side as Tambo. What I think is working for you is he had a pretty good game versus the Patriots the first time out. If you think he continues that and he's utilized, I obviously think he's a really good running back. If you want to get there and you think he's going to be low owned, he's your last guy in. I don't hate it. It is the Patriots defense, though. That's what you have to kind of keep in perspective. So
that's the
issue.
And
he did have a great game. Yes, Bobby. Those 10 DraftKings points came in handy for $4,800. That's terrible.
No, but he had a great game. He had a good game. He had his best game of the year that week.
11 for 59. Wow. Congrats.
How many catches?
Tell me how much you're printing with that
Wilson
play.
throw 4 picks that week too?
I think so. He did actually. Yes, you're right. Maybe before, and I think it was before half. Maybe 2 goes.
He sucks so bad, Tambo.
Oh,
what does your shirt say?
Oh,
nobody
same
cares.
Thing as always, bud. This is my favorite shirt for this show.
Do you just
nobody cares? Work harder.
Contractors working on your house. Look at my shirt, bitches.
That's why I tell them, listen, stop complaining to me and whining. I'm paying you. You get your paycheck. Just get together, do your work, move on. Let me get my house. Thank you.
No doubt about it.
No, I'm not that mean, Holden. I'm not that mean. I'm still nice about it. But hey, Bobby, we forgot to talk about something, Bobby. We forgot to talk about Gio Bernard. You've been the Gio Bernard whisperer. If you want to get off this Michael Carter conversation about how good he's been, talk to the chat about your guy, Gio Bernard, because you got to make the call here.
Yeah, I think Gio Bernard is definitely in play if we're getting a chalk Leonard Fournette week this week. He's at 4,100 too. Snaps haven't been where we want them to be, but versus the Chicago pass rush, you can see him utilize more, especially with AB out, right? Taking away a good pass catcher. OJ Howard's kind of worked his way in this offense, but these ancillary pieces that can kind of run those short A-dot routes, Cameron Brate with Gronk out. I think Gio's definitely in play this week. Where his ownership's at, if he's going to be low owned, I don't know. I'm always in the Lenny fade, so I'll definitely have some Gio.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, we'll have a little bit of Gio today. It's wonderful to see. DeAndre Swift is probably going to play. Chase Edmonds is playing. Do we have any interest in Chase Edmonds?
I think Chase does well in whatever the game script is, and I don't mind playing Chase at low ownership, especially with the team total. They're 33.5, I think, for their team total, Arizona. So do not mind some Chase.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like James Conner is going to get more work there, and I will never roster James Conner.
32.5, sorry.
I mean, aren't both these guys going to get work at 5.6 though? Edmonds and Connor, and then it kind of it's like then you got to worry about which running back in Arizona blows up. I don't know if I want to bother with the Tambo.
Yeah, that's the challenge I've had all season actually, and it works sometimes, doesn't others. That's the game that we play, but I've really been trying to avoid these combinations because you know what it is. Like Chase can get there. He gets checkdowns. He gets opportunities. It's there. The price is fair. There can be upside, but the challenge is pretty simple is if the minute he does not get in or something goes wrong or they get close, not only do you got Kyler doing sideways baseball slides and stuff to get in, but then you've got James Conner who can just bang in 2 touchdowns. And it's almost they cap each other because now Chase is dead in the water. But you say, but I got James Conner and he got 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he literally got 2 1-yard touchdowns. And that's what he gets you. And you're like, you have nothing there either. So the better play is probably just to avoid and try and get one of these receivers that can just get downfield with it and break the slate in that way. It's just so tough with those running backs.
Hopkins vindication week. This is going to be a very vengeful DeAndre Hopkins this Sunday.
Everybody's on his under receptions too, 5.5. Here, my other guys got it. They're all under 5.5. So was he going to get 5 catches for 150 yards and 5 touchdowns? I mean, what are we doing here?
I don't know. I think he's going to have a big week. This is, I'm on this narrative. I'm usually not a revenge guy, but there's definitely some revenge he seems like a pretty vengeful person.
You're going to need to take revenge on Big T. How does a person as rich as Gomes not afford fucking blind so he doesn't have to do a show in a black hole? You look very colorful right now, and I know Helmet Head helped you out, so you look great, Bobby. Don't listen.
You need some key lights too. Like I'm working with the worst setup.
What's going on? I need lights. My lighting's not good.
I guess it was before, and Helmet Head fixed it for you, so you're all good, bro.
If you come to off the chalk like that ever again, though, man, you're gonna have to find a new opportunity. I think because that was horrible.
Oh no, Bobby Gomes has an unlimited.
I went on off the chalk, but then I gave the fucking best play on the show. Don't give me shit. Adam Thielen, fucking 37x off the chalk. That was the best.
We said it because you were being held hostage. Gun to your head. You literally had a gun to your head and had to give the play of the week.
Bobby, what's the play of the week, Bobby?
Chris Godwin. He's going to score 2 touchdowns.
Chalky Godwin.
Clip that, Helmet. Clip that. That's going to be good.
I hope it works.
We're going to run that back on Monday. We're going to run that back on Monday when it comes through. I like that call, 5,900.
I know you do. That's why I went there with you because I know you had the good mojo backing me.
Dallas Goedert's back. The Raiders are going to whoop the Eagles' asses. Dallas Goedert is now, I mean, he's probably the wide receiver 1 there with Devontae Smith being the 2. I don't know. We talked about the Gesicki and the Andrews play. Tambo, how do we not look at Goddard? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I think people do. We got to see what happens and shakes out. I like him quite a bit. I actually loved him coming into this week. Like you said, just everything that's going on. Ship Ertz out. Everything's all set. The guy's running like crazy routes, dropbacks, everything. He's out there, man. He's getting opportunities. So I like him quite a bit. And if he just hovers around this 10% ownership with Kelsey, Gesicki with the Parker news, all these factors, then I actually really do like getting heavy on a guy like Goddard. I think people don't realize it, but you wouldn't, I guess it's the better way to say it, Holden. People don't put him as this upper echelon tight end when you've got guys like Kelsey and Andrews and Waller and all these guys. But I think if you think about it, this could be the spot where we see moving forward now. He did have the opportunities and he could break out in a big way beyond what we've already seen him do, but people just don't classify him that way. I think they might after we start to see a couple of these good games out of him here that we should see.
Bobby Gomes. What are we doing here? Goddard.
I think Tambo hit the nail on the head. Goddard's going to have big weeks going forward, especially when you take Ertz out of that offense. So I like Goddard. I probably prefer him to Gesicki overall this week. I think he's going to be a staple for a lot of people's cash games. Big fan of Goddard this week.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just looking. He's 4.6. Gesicki's 4.7. Actually, that's kind of good for Gesicki ownership, isn't it? That we got these 2 guys right there. I think they're going to eat into each other's ownership.
I think it's good. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
they're going to be the 2 highest.
I think it's good the other way though. Originally, I think that people once the Parker news, the fact it's Atlanta, just so many factors there for Miami that I think people just end up there. But I think it should be the other way. I actually like Goddard quite a bit in the spot, so that would be me leaning the other way.
Okay. DeAndre Swift expected to play. That's good news. We got that one. Oh, the Chiefs. Let's do the Chiefs here. Unless something changes, Andy Reid says, unless something changes, Tyreek Hill is going to play. He's got that quad. I'm not worried about him then. What do you go? 9 for 76 and 1 last week. And then you've got Travis Kelce, who's just banged up, but I mean, he had a nice week last week. Bobby, where are you on the Chiefs this week against the Titans?
Yeah, Chiefs are going to be in play for me again this week. Chiefs are always in play for me. But one of the things that I've come to realize is I want to play a lot more Tyreek Hill and I want to play Travis Kelce in tournaments. Just because, like, I think Travis Kelce has like 130-point game where Tyreek has like 3 or 4 already. So just an easy Tyreek over Travis Kelce for me going forward.
Okay. Very good. Tambo, Chiefs?
I lean a little bit the other way on that statement, just in the sense that Tyreek
We can have some
break the
disagreement.
slate.
We can have some disagreement.
Well, you always say I hit the nail on the head and I crushed it and everything. So I always just like to go the opposite of you and flip it the other way. It's the contrarian in me. But I'll say this. Well, you're right. And why I would, as an MME player and someone who's playing 150 plus or 300 plus across both sites, if you're doing that and not putting Tyreek Hill in your pools, I think you're doing it wrong because he has the ability to break every single slate. What I would say is, though, and this is the way I think of it from just a perspective of like the whole slate in general, I always talk about tight end and how important it is. And Kelce can literally outscore by 20 points over the other guys. So I like getting the Kelce's in there, the guys like Andrews, Goddards that I think are just so solid. And then the rest of my pool at tight end will be built off of stacks. So they just fall within a stack and happen to land on them. And that's the way to get it, unique there. I just think Kelce has such good consistency, but he also does have the upside. But the thing is, he doesn't need the same upside is what I'm trying to say as Hill, because if Hill gets 20, that's not the same as sometimes if Kelce gets 20, because Kelce could be smashing a bunch of 5-pointers where we know there's going to be a ton of 20-pointers at wide receiver. So you're right on the upside and ceiling play. But at the same time, the point that Kelce's at tight end where you have to pick one and he can beat the others by so many, that matters more to me in that scenario.
So we're just talking about in the context of this slate, correct?
Yeah, for sure. But it's also evergreen strategy thoughts that people are listening that can utilize when they're building lineups and thinking in general on how they go about it. That's kind of the way. Like I said, I agree. You got to get your Tyreeks in there. But I'm saying if you're picking one or the other, you said you would normally lean Tyreek way more than Kelce. I wouldn't necessarily do that. He's always going to have shares because he can break it, but he's not as likely to break it as Kelce is to break his position, in my opinion.
So this week at his position with all the run backs and that 57.5 total, Tyreek's going to be really chalky. That's why in the context of this slate, more, and I agree with that statement, like to play Tyreek more than Kelce usually. But what I'm saying on the context of this slate, like I really want to play Tyreek more because everyone's going to use that run back at tight end with Kelce. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, we'll see. I think everyone's going to use everybody in that game. So that's where you got to think about it.
It's not going to matter. Yeah.
What I was trying to say, bottom line, we can move on, is that there's way more options at wide receiver that can bust Tyreek than there is at tight end that can bust Kelce. So I would be more comfortable with that. And then getting a Hardman or your boy Pringle or someone random in the other side to make this game to get unique within that stack still within that game with that total, than it would be just to be on the other side, just to say, I've got the break the slate shares of Tyreek. I'll have both, but that's why I want to make that point.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Stick to your guns, Bobby Gomes. Stick to your guns. Don't let anybody change your mind. All right.
Holden, you're so lost in that conversation. It's so funny. You stick to your guns. It's not a fade time statement.
Don't listen to Tambo.
It's a strategy.
No, I think he made a very good point.
I want more fighting. It's all right.
We still like Holden. We still like you.
We're done. We have to do it
friends. Our friendship's over.
No, with the show, silly.
Oh, okay. I got worried for a minute.
This is what happens. You hang out with little kids.
Do we have the hardwood next? AP dropped a nice little tidbit on the hardwood last night.
Yeah.
With Giannis fade.
Yeah, that would have been nice if I would have heard that. But I didn't. So what are you going to do? For Tambo and Bobby Gomes, we do got the hardwood show coming up, and then we'll do Up to Lock with me and JSU. Tony Price. I don't know who's on the show, to be honest with you. I'm just glad we got this one in the books. Tambo, wonderful. Bobby Gomes, wonderful. Helmet head, get us out of here.